Well, welcome back to the Build Show. I am your host over here at the Empower Gaming Studio, Ben Estrino, here to build, yet again, another PC. But this isn't just any PC, this is John's PC. I think it's okay to call him John. Build number 105 on the year. It's going to be an Intel Core 9 build. Excuse me. Welcome back to the Build Show, Ant-Man. First in the chat over there on YouTube. Looks like John might be following us and watching over on the Twitch side. For everybody that's aware. Tony, welcome back to the Build Show. Leah, welcome back to the Build Show. Ant-Man, $100 for a hoodie. Who's got $100 for a hoodie? Is it one of our hoodies? Depends on which hoodie you're looking at. But yeah, they're stupid expensive to get printed. Let's see here. Leah did post, or yes, if you are curious about the specs of the build, you can do !build in the chat and it will spit out all the specs, but I'm going to run through them here. So let's go ahead and start off by lowering the volume of the music slightly. The green and black. There's a lot of green and black. Unfortunately, every single hoodie variation has a green and a black option. Unless you're talking about the one with the Empower down the sleeve and can't remember what version, the graph version where it has like digitalized stuff all over it. Super expensive to get that printed, and they print those off individually, so it's not like I have a plethora of them, so I don't get any like discounts for printing 100 of them off. It's pretty much they print them or make them as they are ordered. That is why they are so expensive. And that's really the only way I'm going to do that right now, because I don't have a bunch of money to go drop on merch that nobody really does a lot of purchasing on. So like the 3D lines, yeah, that one is very expensive because it's literally a print across all the fabric. It's very expensive to make. So they print it on the fabric first, and then they make the hoodie, basically, is what's happening, to give you an idea. So there's a lot of work involved, and it costs money. I seen Max. Oh yeah, he might be running around back there somewhere. So, all right, so let's go through the parts. Throw me off to the side because I don't need to be the center of attention here. Parts. Genix build. Is it Jonek? Am I saying that right? Jonek? Or Jonek? 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 Will you enable secure boot on it? Yes. That is now part of the Yonik. Yonik. Got it. I thought I was saying it wrong. I'm like, this looks like John, but I've never seen this name before. First time I've ever had to try to pronounce his name. Yonik is the correct. Yonik. Yonik. Got it. Yo Nick. I'm just kidding. Yonik. Yonik. Got it. This is the first time I've ever had to pronounce that name. I'm not very good with English language as it is, so when hard names come across, it's like, I'm gonna botch this one. Polish. Got it. Got it. That makes much more sense. I'm trying to, I don't know much about Polish, unfortunately. But, okay, so let's run through the parts list. Where is the Intel guy? For real. Yeah, he should be over here up in arms, congratulating Yonik on his new Intel build. We have one guy that follows us here and is a very big member of the community, and he's a big Intel fan, which is why we're talking about him. Roy is his name. You might see him in the chat here at some point, and he'll be super excited to see that we're actually doing an Intel build, because the majority of the builds here that we do are mostly AMD based on preference. So, all right, to start off, we have an Intel an Intel Core Ultra 9. I'm definitely going to make the mistake and call it an i9 at some point during this video, during this live build. So bear with me. OLED is expensive. Yes, OLED is expensive. I've been looking at OLED and mini LED monitors. My head's ready to explode, Tony. Yeah, once you go down the monitor route, you can. It's a dangerous, very expensive route to take to go down. So there's a lot of different monitors now with different use cases too. So just depends on what you're trying to do, kind of determine what monitor you should run. All right, so the Core Ultra 9 with 24 cores, which has got 8 performance cores and 16 efficiency cores, along with 24 threads and a maximum boost of 5.7 gigahertz. We do have the Thermalright LGA 1851, which is a interesting. I wonder how that came about to that number, but I assume it has something to do with the socket and the infrastructure. But we do have the contact frame, which is in the blue package from Thermalright. So we will be utilizing the contact frame. We do have Arctic MX. We're actually going to be using MX4 for the thermal paste, along with the new cooler that I've never built with before. So this will be a new adventure, which is the Thermalright Wonder Vision, which features a screen that I guess it has a curve on the screen that goes from the top to the side of the RAM. So it kind of gives it a really nice, cool look, and I think it's going to go very well with the case, which is a Montech King 95 Pro, which also has curved glass. So I think the two of them combined are going to look very nice. We are, however, going to replace the fans, the stock fans that come with the Wonder Vision, with actual Montech fans. So I did buy an extra kit of 3 120mm AX120s in white with the RGB. The reason why I did that is because the fans will now match through the entire system. The cooler fans won't be different fans. It'll be the same fans as the rest of the system. It'll match a lot better. So the aesthetics will be a lot nicer. It was a little bit more expensive to do that, but not, you know, it was like, what, $30 for the pack, so a pack of 3, so it's not insane, and worth it if you are trying to make an aesthetically pleasing PC build. The Gigabyte Z890 Aorus Pro Ice for the motherboard. This is a fantastic motherboard based on my reviews that I've looked at. This is a really nice board. Plus, obviously, if you haven't noticed, we're going with a very white theme. So the white motherboard inside the white system is going to be really nice. A nice touch. We do have 64 gigs of DDR5 6000 CL30 at 232 gig sticks, which is going to be the T-Force Delta DDR5 RGB kit. This should be in white, though it shows a black and a white on here, but nowhere does it say really on the package if it's white or not. Ah, yes, it is selected white right there. Very hard to see on that camera unless I zoomed in. So we have 64 gigs of DDR5, 6000 CL30, and then we have a 4 terabyte M.2 NVMe SSD, which is the Samsung 990 Evo Plus. So really fast, snappy drive and plentiful storage there. Then we have, for the graphics card, the Gigabyte Aero, A-E-R-O, which is the RTX 5080 by NVIDIA. This one should be the OC edition. It is 16 gigabytes GDDR7 at 256-bit. This card is basically the go-to card for maximizing 2K and dabbling with 4K gaming. So this is a excellent card to go to. He'll be able to literally play anything he wants, as all the new features, including the newer DLSS for FrameGen, as newer titles are supporting that. That's going to be a great feature to have on this card. On top of it, the graphics card, we do have to power the system, so we're going to be powering it with a Thermaltake Tough Power GFA3, which is a 1050 watts, 80 plus gold power supply. So plentiful power. This is actually more power than what you would really need for an RTX 5080 build, but gives them a little bit of wiggle room if you wanted to upgrade, or if, say, the 5080 Super ever comes out, or 5080 Ti Super or something weird like that comes out, he would have the wiggle room to upgrade if he wanted to. Or maybe the 6080 later down the road, you know, a year from now, when that releases, maybe he wants to upgrade and that has a higher power demand, he'll have the power supply capability of doing that. We do also have, with the power supply, some white extension cables to cover the EPS cables and the 24 pin, as well as a separate 12 volt high power cable, which is going to go directly from the power supply to the graphics card in white. So if you haven't noticed, white theme all the way through. So a very white build. Montech King 95 Pro is for the case. I know we touched on that a little bit earlier, but the Montech King 95 Pro in white, along with the two side reverse blade intake fans, which are 140s, and the three reverse blade 120s on the bottom, and then a regular 120 on the rear, which is why we got these fans for the cooler to match the rest of the fans that come with the case, so that it's more aesthetically pleasing. All right. I will admit, this is, I think, my second time ever doing a Core Ultra build. So, and this is actually my first time ever installing a contact frame on the socket, just because that's how many Intel builds we actually do here. Not very many. It's very minimal. And it's not intentionally, or it's not intentional. It just so happens to land that way because everybody wants AMD right now. I've been, oh yeah, we already covered that. What monitor should I upgrade to with this new PC? Yonik, I would say anything 1440p is basically going to be a yes. And of course, you're going to want higher refresh rate and lower response time. So the higher the refresh rate, so for example, like I wouldn't go anything less than 165 hertz on your refresh rate, and then the response time should be at least minimum 1 millisecond, or lower. I wouldn't go anything more than that. 4K 240, you could go get that. That would be, I would say the 5080's a dabble in 4K, meaning I wouldn't invest too heavily in a 4K monitor. Because the 5080 can run 4K, it can, but if you're trying to do 4K on competitive, like first-person shooter games, then obviously you would have probably wanted to go up to a 5090. But those are super stupid expensive, so 5090 would have been almost the same price as this entire build, which is outrageous, but it is what it is. Or half the price anyway, or close to it. But the 5080 can dabble in 4K, so it's nice to have in more single-player style games, I guess. The eye candy, the 4K, the 240 hertz. That's where it would be nice to have. And then for more competitive games like Call of Duty and Battlefield 6 and stuff like that, I would probably run 2K and try to get the frames up, because the higher the resolution, the lower your frames are going to be. So I would go 1440p for your competitive games and 4K for your eye candy. But I'll leave that decision up to you on your monitor. But if you get a 4K monitor, you can always run 1440p on the 4K monitor, so that's also an option. Hey Chris, thank you for the like over there on Facebook. Good to see you. Does that make sense, Yannick? Yup, Yannick. The dual mode is cool. Asus Strix, you get 140 at 4, and then you can switch to like a 320 hertz at 1080p, best of both worlds. That's a good point. Tony over on YouTube mentioned there are monitors that have dual modes, so you can have your high FPS, high refresh rate, and then be able to switch back to 4K with a lower refresh rate. So that is actually a really cool feature on a monitor. Most of them offer that feature. It's just not as advertised, so when you're looking at them you're like, oh, I don't know what happens if I go to 1440p. What does it do? So I think I'll get the 4K so I have the potential of better for the future, and then can lower it to 1440p for more FPS. That's usually what most people do if they're trying to dabble with 4K. Ant-Man says, so I have a gaming PC, I want a gaming laptop next. How does a laptop hold up compared to a desktop if you're on it all day? If you keep it cool, you could do okay with a laptop. So it's going to be important that you keep it cool. And when I say that, I mean definitely invest in a good cooling pad underneath. And the cooling pads are usually just a platform that you set your laptop on, and it has a bunch of fans that helps remove the heat from the bottom of the laptop. But I know laptops over time being used quite a bit will have more use or more abuse on the parts, and they'll burn out probably quicker than a desktop just because of how hot they get. And there's really no way to really prevent that unless you do something crazy like Linus Tech Tips has done before with laptop cooling. They had a video, I think, a long time ago, cooling a laptop with a liquid cooling solution. It was interesting, but not practical. Hey Ben, I have all my retro games running in a launch box. The 4070 is shining bright. Awesome. Yeah, the 4070 should be doing pretty good for you. Still, to this day. But, okay. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with this build, because we are going to try to do 2 builds tonight. And I did get get started a little later than I wanted to. But, you know, is what it is. We'll try. If it gets, again, too late, I'll push build number 2 tomorrow, and then we'll have to do a triple build tomorrow, or 2 builds on Saturday. Yeah. It'll be fun. Alright. So, move some of this out of the way so we can get started. Ant-Man, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to predict the life of a laptop. They're smaller components running a ton of energy through them, creates a lot of heat. So it's constantly heating up, cooling down, heating up, cooling down, and it's really hard to predict what it's going to do. It's an electronic, eventually wears out. You know, I treat laptops like a mobile option. That's how I treat them. So if I'm not going to be mobile and it's just going to be sitting on a desk anyway, I'll go to a desktop option, unless I need the laptop. for the mobility. So that peel unfortunately broke. It took a little bit of finagling to get it. Okay. Now, we're going to open up our Intel Core i9 Ultra. i9. The Intel Core Ultra 9. I'll get it right one day, guys. How does a HDR monitor make a difference with a on a 4060? I don't think it's going to be that much of a difference. Got it. This is our Thermalright contact frame. That didn't just happen. You guys see what just happened there? So the head of this screw just broke. And I didn't put a lot of effort into that. Can't leave that in there. I'm glad it's lifted so I could grab it with little squeezies. And then get that out of there so we could use, hopefully, another screw. Yeah. Screw, literally, just broke. Like, how does that happen? What the hell, Thermalright? So, you guys see what I did there, though? I put these two back in to hold the plate on the back side so it wouldn't move while I was trying to remove that broken screw. I also left the CPU in the socket so it would protect the pins. So if you ever get in that situation, I would recommend doing that, what I just did. Replicating what I just did here. Yeah, overall that sucked. Pretty sure I could reuse the stocks. It'll work fine. Again, I didn't put an insane amount of torque on that to break that screw. So, kind of disappointed that that broke. But, is what it is. We've solved the problem. And we move on. But that one I want to take a picture of and actually send it over to Thermalright. Okay. Now that we've gotten through that, looks like we have some chats here. Quite a few, actually. How hard is it to build a PC? I wanted to do it myself until my buddies told me to go through you, and they said you did a great job with theirs. Well, there's one example. If you got into that situation, which I got into, and I build a lot of PCs, you have to be able to figure out that kind of stupid stuff that'll happen. It's not that difficult to build it, though. I mean, you'll watch through from here, start to finish, the entire PC build and how much work it's going to take. What I don't show is the Windows installation, the BIOS updates, and drivers, and all of that stuff. It's not difficult to do all that, but it is a learning curve. So if you've never done it before, a lot of people get frustrated trying to learn all of it because they want it to just work, and not everything just works. So most of it does, but not everything. Plus, you know, you get the warranty and my support if there's anything that comes up. Tony says, where I left off in the chat over on YouTube, I'm a dork. I'm running two 32-inch monitors, a 12-inch monitor, and a 7-inch monitor. That's in my computer now. I want a better monitor. Never ends. No, the itch to have better never, ever ends in the PC world. Because there's always something better that comes out. And then you start getting that itch again, and you're like, I gotta go get it. I gotta have it. Yeah, Tony, I have 4 monitors as well. Ant-Man says, what you use a 7-inch monitor for? It's inside his system, Ant-Man. It's an internal screen inside his PC. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm assuming the OMG was regarding the broken screw. The fun conundrum we're having there. I put Iron Maiden videos on it inside my computer, or whatever. Nice. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, that was a close one. We got through that one, though. It only costs like 30 bucks, runs off of HDMI, so I could just control it like a monitor. I don't have to use that crazy software. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, let's go ahead and install our RAM next, which we have 64 gigs of DDR5, 6000, so 232 gig sticks. This is CL30. By Team Group, this is the T-Force Delta RGB series in white. At least I'm hoping it is actually white in the box, because it shows the white and the black could be very easily mistaken. But on the back side, it does show that it is white and that it has a dot there. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be white. Oh yeah. What we wanted to see. What happened in there? Okay, so we're putting those in slots A2 and B2 here and here, leaving these 2 slots open. With DDR5, really can't add 4 slots without sacrificing stability or speed. So you're pretty much stuck with 2. So if you ever go to upgrade with DDR5 on these platforms, at least right now, you're basically going to just replace these 2. And going from 64, the only thing kind of going up from there is 96 gigs. Doubling the double. All right, so with this board, we're going to move on to the SSD. Actually, not sure which slot the SSD should go in, which is our, I already opened it, but it's our 4TB 990 EVO Plus by Samsung. This guy right here. I'm actually not sure if we're going to be putting it in this slot or one of these lower slots. I have to actually go look at the motherboard manual. I've never built on this board before, so I'm not sure. Unless somebody here knows. If they do know, throw it in the chat. Where the hell is the Intel guy? I'm getting worried. I'll drop it in the Discord real quick that I'm live, and then while you guys wait, I'm gonna go look at the manual real quick. Is there room to add more RAM or SSD in this build? So as I was just saying, Yannick, the RAM, which is this guy here, you would have to replace. So it wouldn't be adding, it would be replacing. And you'd be going from 64 gigs to 96. So you'd buy a 96 gig kit, which would have two 64 or 48 gig, sorry, 48 gig sticks. Like 48, right? 48 and 48, 40 is 80, 8 and 8. Yeah, so 96 gig kit, replace these two, and you'd replace them both in the same slot. There are two additional slots here, but with DDR5, when you run 4 sticks, you lose stability, or you have stability issues generally, and you have to also run it at a lower speed. So you sacrifice speed and stability for the 4 sticks, which is just dumb at that point. You would just go buy the 96 gig kit and just run that and replace it. With the SSDs, there is one M.2 slot up here, which is we're probably gonna utilize this one or one of the other 2 down here. So there should be a total of 3. There might be a 4th. I don't remember on this board, which is what I'm gonna go look up on the manual. So just bear with me. I mean, at this point, we just throw it in there and find out what happens, right? I mean, what else do we do? But I feel like it needs to go in one of these bottom slots, not in this top slot, because of what it said. It said graphics card or NVMe SSD. It didn't say support both. It said it was going to support one or the other. So I'm going to put it right down here. Plus, it's a Gen 4 SSD. It's not like it needs to be in a Gen 5 slot. Anyway. To answer your question, Yannick, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 M.2 slots, so technically you can add 5 drives, but I'm fairly certain if we add a drive to this slot here, we lose performance on your graphics card slot. So I would recommend using these down here first. That's what I'm going to do and see what happens. Check your DM. Okay. Hold on a second. Have to walk all the way over here. Well, I think I got it right. This is a weird one, Intel. Yeah, a little bit weird, but I think I got it right. So, you know, we'll run it and see what it does. If I have to move it, then I'll move it. That's an interesting finish by Gigabyte there. Not a smooth finish, it's just kind of a weird finish. Underneath, can't really fit. Okay, so now that we're done with that, I understand that if I need more storage down the road and want to add more, I could just ask you what to buy. Yes, yeah, we can figure that out if you need to add more. Correct. And it doesn't take very long to do it. It's like a 10-minute process, maybe 15 to add another drive, and then boot it up, initialize, and format the drive. So, to no cut you full. Yes, that's what I wanted to avoid. Is I wanted a full X16 lane. I didn't want to start cutting into the performance there. 5 M.2 slots is crazy. Yes. It is pretty crazy. So, well, thank you for the follow, Krakens. 2. About 5 seconds ahead on Twitch. Yeah. YouTube usually has a delay, pretty good delay. So, all right. So next, I don't know if we have any specific mounting. I'm sure let's go ahead and get the mounting brackets for the cooler, which is the Wonder Vision by Thermalright. Thermalright. That is a beautiful board. Oh, thank you. It's Yonex board, who is there in the chat over on Twitch. Intel guy, I'm here. Sorry, I tattooed someone for 7 straight hours. Had to take a nap. I think that was a well-earned nap. Everybody here was very worried that you weren't here. Oh, good to see you. Welcome back to the Build Show. And welcome to the Build Show, Onra. Welcome to the Build Show, Chat Nerds. Welcome back to the Build Show, Roy. And welcome to the Build Show, Krakens. Welcome. Grab your snacks. We're learning. Haven't built with some of these components before, so it's all new to me. Really snazzy box. I've seen some Z890 boards with just 2 RAM slots. That's because DDR5 has issues when you try to run 4, so they're just like, you know what, we're going to take it away. No, it's probably because it has more to do with the PCIe lanes. That would be my guess. Drippy, thank you for the follow over there on the Twitch side. Curious about the specs of the PC? Any of the new people in the chat, you can do !build manned, and it will spit out all the specs for you. Trying to sort through some of this hardware to get this sorted out. I've seen that Thermalright has been bring the AIO market to a cheaper, competing with top brands like Corsair and other mid. Yes, Thermalright, the reason why they're so cheap is because they manufacture most of their components themselves, if not all of them. So they can produce a cooler for much cheaper than other cooler manufacturers. They were going to also, or they are also introducing cases to the market, but that's one thing they don't have is the tooling for the size of the panels for the casing, or for the cases. So the cases aren't going to be as cheap or competitive, but that is a market they're starting to enter into as well, is cases. So not only are we going to have coolers, but we're going to have eventually cases from Thermalright as well. So maybe we'll get into some really cool designs by Thermalright, and eventually it'll lead to, oh, thank you for the sub, Tony, over on Twitch, and maybe that'll eventually lead to cheaper cases. You can offset some of the cost of this DDR5 RAM. This is definitely not the right bracket. I'm like, what am I doing wrong here? Definitely grabbed the wrong bracket. And I'm going to reference how you put these on. Very specific that we have to make sure these are looks like they face forward. Could not remember. It's been so long. Droopy, is this the number 105, the number of builds you've done? That's the number of builds I've done this year. So 105. Last year we hit 196, and the year before that, which is when I was full-time doing nothing but builds, we did 700. I did 733 builds. So yes, yeah, that is the number for this year alone. I do say we'll probably, because through the months of November and December, I basically hit or double up. So through the months of November and December during like the holiday season, that's where you get a lot of people wanting PCs, like mom and dad trying to buy their kiddo a PC for Christmas. And I will generally do double the amount of PCs that I've built throughout the year, or close to it. So should be doing close to 200 this would be my expectation. I don't think I'm going to be able to stream every single one. I currently am not doing this full-time right now. I am doing this part-time. Not enough value. Great. Here we go. Oh yeah. Chat nerds. Not the chat, but nerds. So we're installing the LGA 1851 bracket, and the screw broke. One of Thermalright's screws broke. And I wasn't reefing on it like crazy. So if you go back into the video, you'll see what I had to do to solve that one. That was fun. Took a picture of it. I'm going to send it over to Thermalright and say, hey, come on, guys. It's a screw. How many years have I been building? I've been building probably what? Probably since 2000 and something. Like single digit 2000s. Like 2005. Maybe even before that. I built my first PC when I was like 11 years old, so, and then from there it just kind of progressed. It became a thing. Can you rotate the screen? I don't know. It doesn't look like you can. Yes. Good question. Let's look at that. So, we're all done with prepping the board. That's ready to go into the case. Set that aside. Let's take a look at this cooler, since this is a new toy to play with. Sorry, Yonek, we're playing with your cooler. Hope you're okay with it. But this is the Thermalright Wonder Vision, which does have your curved screen that everybody likes. It's a nice curved screen look to it. And it does look like you can remove it, and it uses magnets to hold it on place. So put it back. Looks like you can only do it this way or this way. So if we were mounting it, let's say this was the top of the PC, wanted hoses front. Right now, this that. Rotate this, that. Or if you needed the hoses to go to the back, you could rotate it. Yes, screen is rotatable. Does look like it's going to use a USB-C connection here off the screen, which is probably going to go to a USB 2.0 header, would be my assumption. Yes, that is definitely the case. Goes to USB 2.0. And then this is your pump, and this is your RGB and fans, which would be on this kit. But we are replacing this kit with Montech fans because we're going in the King 95 Pro. So I am going to replace the fans to have matching fans throughout the case. You do have to remove this screen in order to mount this. Get to the screws down here. The mounting. That will have to be on point. Also, a good note is if you're shipping one of these, you're definitely going to want to make sure that's packed nice and tight so it doesn't go. I'll set that aside. That aside. And then we can move on to getting the case out. Bump it. Let's get the case out, shall we? What's the most difficult part of building a PC? Some giant idiot's response is affording the parts, which is a very good point. That's usually the most difficult part. Building the PC is not that difficult. It's when you run into a hiccup or an issue. Like if you were here earlier in the stream, we broke a screw, and I wasn't like reefing on it. It just broke. You gotta kind of have a game plan of how to fix that kind of stuff. So just be ready for the things you didn't think of that are going to be like, that sucks. And also, don't be lazy about building the PC. Do it right. So, for example, put all the motherboard screws in that are mounting the motherboard to the case. Put all the studs in, make sure they're all right for the mounting points on the motherboard. Read your motherboard manual, or at least pieces that you need to reference the motherboard manual on. Definitely read that. Stuff like that. Watch videos. Follow me. Watch me. I build a ton of PCs. You learn a lot. And I'm happy to answer any questions while I'm doing so. Tony says, can you rotate the screen? And then Tony comes back and says he could put a picture of the RAM on it. A good point, Roy says. A good point. People these days want a screen in every PC's corner. I mean, they're pretty cool. They're cool. You can't lie. They're cool. Having a screen inside your PC is... Man, with all the Amazon issues, I was half expecting... This one came from Amazon. Half expecting this case to come in the wrong color. Well, it wouldn't have surprised me. I think I have a black one and a red one over there. I'm gonna say I think I have King 95s over here right now. I do. One black one, one red one sitting over here. This, ouch, the Montech King 95 Pro. Really cool, curved glass on it, which is going to go well with that curved screen, internal screen. I think that's going to look really nice. Really looking forward to seeing this build completed. All white, matching fans, curved screen with the curved glass. gonna look really nice. Theo Cooter. Theo, I'm gonna just call you Theo G Cooter. This PC is going to take Yonik from a 2 KD to a 0.3 KD, a 0.2 KD to a 0.3 KD. Probably. I mean, what we're all aiming for, right? Welcome to the build show, though. First time chat. I'm terrible with the English language, if you haven't noticed. What's Max doing right now? He's down here sleeping. He had his dinner, so now he's napping after his dinner. And of course, he likes to hang out by my side. The OG Cooter. Yeah, Cooter. So yeah, Max is just hanging out down here with me. Probably waiting for something to happen. Like, is Dad gonna go to the kitchen? He does. Gonna get a bite. So I like to, this is optional, you don't have to actually do this, but it makes getting in here and doing the cable management a lot easier. But this has 2 screws on the top and the bottom. It swings, it has a hinge mechanism, but I like to remove it. If you remove the 2 screws and then just push on the top towards the back of the PC, it'll push it out, and then the bottom just lifts out of its hinge. So very easy to remove this, and it's well worth it when you're working in and out of the PC. I definitely recommend just removing it. Okay, so they did a great job, obviously, lining everything up for you. Really, all you got to do is open up the cables and plug them into the board in the proper locations. All right, so I was talking about studs earlier. You want to make sure all of your studs are here for the ATX installation, ATX motherboard. Unless, of course, you're working with a micro ATX motherboard or even an ITX. I hope not. That's the size of the case. I hope you would be taking advantage of the case size. And we've got 9 mounting points on this board. Well, we have all the right studs that are already in there by Montech. So thank you, Montech. Making our job just a little bit easier. Lining that up. This board in particular covers 1 mounting hole. So I am going to remove this to gain access to that hole. I'm just going to leave that quote there. Owner says over on YouTube, or Ant-Man, actually. Okay, what's for dinner? I think it was leftover night, so we had spaghetti and a pepper. It's like an Italian pepper slash sausage dish. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head. Onura over on YouTube, Ben. There is a white Cooler Master AIO, 360 millimeter with 45 US dollars before tax in Amazon. May be a good one for you to have for future. Yeah, that's a great price. That's a great price. I've had issues in the past with Cooler Master AIOs burning out. I don't know what it is about Cooler Master, but Cooler Master, MSI, what was that third one that I had issues with? I've actually had issues with Corsair as well, but there was another brand, Thermaltake. I've had issues with pumps burning out on them. So it's not, I don't know if they've changed things since the last time I've tried to use Cooler Master, but when you start replacing multiple because the same problem happens to them, you tend to steer away from the product. I don't know. So failure rate was, for me, on a very small sample size, was too high. So I decided not to use Cooler Master unless I was using like a air cooler. And to be honest, Cooler Master air coolers just can't compete with a Peerless Assassin, which is cheaper for more. So It's hard to compete with them. Thermal right. Price wise. Okay, but yeah, I'll take a look at the cooler, my cooler master that you mentioned. If you don't mind, do you mind posting that in the hardware section of the Discord? So I'd love to take a look at it. Damn, you've been on the grind the past few days. Yes, we've been busy building. We will be building tomorrow and Saturday as well at this point. We got a birthday boy on Sunday. His birthday is on Sunday, and they just ordered the PC today. And they're like, can you make it happen? And I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll work Saturday too. The day I thought I wasn't going to work, I'll work. So, thankfully I could get all the parts here before Saturday, so that is lucky. It is a very budget-friendly build, so the parts were very available. We didn't have to like wait on anything. Actually, one of the builds that I was complaining about Micro Center about. Anybody saw my rant on Facebook? 4X. It was regarding that build. So, some of the parts I already have here that I'm helping out with. Sent you a message in Discord with the link. I actually ordered one for myself. Nice. Yeah, I mean, maybe they've changed things. I don't know. 100% Micro Center is in the wrong. Oh, yeah. They even responded. Micro Center responded to my my post on Twitch. They're like, give us the order information and we'll contact the store and figure it out. I was like, nah. You've already screwed my time. Enough of my time, because this is not the first time something like this has happened, and I'm just done. Just done with Micro Center. They want to hoard their open box CPUs, they could do that. Makes no difference to me. I guess the only reason I would go to Micro Center is if I absolutely needed something immediately. Like that day. So. Gartson, so we have multiple builds to do, obviously. I'm going to try to squeeze a second build in tonight, but so far, at our current pace, I don't know that we're going to get to a second build before it's our cutoff time. So we might have to bleed into tomorrow, the next build that we would be doing today. So that would be another King 95 Pro build, but it's AMD. And then we have 2 additional AM5 micro ATX builds that we'd be doing that I was going to do Friday, but now we might have to split those up and do one of those on Saturday, and then the budget build for the birthday boy on Saturday to be ready for Sunday, which is going to be fun. Looking forward to it. We have quite a few builds to do this week, so we're not done. We're not even close to being done. And then we have more builds next week. So build. This is how it always goes. It goes quiet for like 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden it's insane. Quiet for 2 weeks, and then it's insane. I don't know why it's always a roller coaster like that. I did pay exactly twice that for the Arctic Liquid Freezer Pro 360. I had actual retail workers message me over at Micro Center's Discord over my surveys. Nice. Big rush. I don't know if it's a big rush. It's just how how it always pans out. It's just, and it's the same thing with the service side. When I say service side, I also service PCs here locally in Michigan. So people are bringing me their PCs for upgrades or help with diagnosing problems and things like that. So usually it's quiet, and then all of a sudden I have like 10 PCs in here to service, and it's like, bah, you know, what do I do? I've only got 2 hands. So it just, you know, it sucks, because then I gotta say, oh yeah, I originally told you a week ago that I could do it probably the same day. That was when I wasn't busy. Now I've got 10 PCs in here. So hard to kind of find a balance with that and set the right expectations. All right. So the motherboard is installed. It's kind of weird that they used the red, I think these are fuses down here. That looks like a fuse. Kind of weird that they used red fuses on a white board. I wish they would have used like black. I mean, you're not going to really be able to see that. Interesting nonetheless. Okay, so let's get our front panel connectors plugged in. We have USB-C here. We have USB 3.0 here. We have our front panel power here, and then our fans will need to be plugged in as well. We have addressable RGB here and a fan header here that we'll use. We'll run RGB here, HD audio. We'll pre-run cable cooler. So that's ready to go. This goes to a USB 2.0 header. Don't forget. Because the time I would remember about it is when I already have the graphics card in here, and it's impossible to get your hands down there without taking the card back out. That's when I would remember it. Okay, so let's route our cables, get those plugged in, and then we'll plug in our EPS cables, our 24-pin power cables, power for the CPU and the board. I complained about how they scalped GPUs when they say they sell them for retail. Yeah, they're funny. I mean, they tried, but they got a little greedy. Everybody else was getting greedy, why couldn't they? You know, I could probably just undo these and make it faster, but we'll maintain some order in the back without having. Okay, and then we have 2 power connectors. And undo. Right. All right, flip it over, plug it in. Half the time with Micro Center, I was just happy that they had a card in stock. Kaboom, a waiting room. Sure would like to see the PC get put together. Oh yeah, we're working on it. Maybe it's because summer is ending and people are looking to buy something for winter, so they don't get bored. That's a good point. It's a good point. Usually this time of the year, though, people are waiting for like Black Friday and stuff like that, which, by the way, aren't that crazy of deals. Chocolate City Tout. That white is super clean. Almost jealous. I had you build mine black. Oh no. I mean, if you want to switch it to white, we could do that. If we must. Yeah, the white's always clean. Super clean. Okay, so now that we got all of our front panel connectors in, we're going to jump on our EPS and 24 pin. Got some cable combs to sort out. We've got some nice white cables. There is a cost for going white also. So we call it in the PC industry as a joke, the white tax. But it's because all the white components always cost more than your typical standard colors, so they're more pricey. So there is a cost to going all white. The PC builds. But you don't have to always go all white. You could go you could do a white case, a black motherboard, and do black and white cables and kind of really spice it up. You can even throw black fans inside the white case. Those look really cool. They're like panda looking builds. I'm in the same boat. I've been trying to sell locally my 7900 GRE to upgrade my 9070 XT Black Friday or Cyber Monday. Yeah. Well, that was, I was actually trying to pick up a 7800 XT, a Ryzen 5 5500 with a B550 motherboard. I was going to pick it up for like $300 or something like that for all of that. $380 or something. That was the Micro Center deal that I found. Open box. But they would not let me buy. I bought one AMD CPU that month. So it doesn't really matter if it was open box or not. Would not let me buy it. And then they wouldn't let me buy the graphics card without the open box CPU, so, or at least they didn't really give me that option. They're just like, no, we can't let you pick up these orders. Okay, why not? Because you already bought bought CPUs this month. So. A CPU, should I say. So anyway, I've got salt. A little salty towards Micro Center. I got lucky. My Seasonic PSU came with all white cables. Even the wall power cable is white. I'm assuming you bought a white power supply then. I just had to send back a 1200 watt Seasonic Vertex that died. Okay. These cable combs, they always take a little bit out of me. Take a little bit of focus to get them all done. Always joke and say I could do these probably blind by now. But I'd be lying to myself. Okay, cables are in. Look, super clean. Yeah? This white enough? A lot of white. Alright, that being said, we can move on to the cooler itself and start it on that. So we are going to replace those fans that come with the cooler with Montech fans. Hopefully that's swapperoo. We've got fans that come with the cooler here already mounted. We're going to replace them with matching fans inside the case. So we have aesthetically pleasing results, which is matching fans throughout the build. Instead of different fans, although they wouldn't be too much different than fans that are in the system. They're just not perfect. So we're going to put the matching fans on the cooler. Fit. Need to take me with you. We will own the whole store once we're done. Yeah, that's terrible. I know. Dangerous store to go into, Micro Center, nonetheless. Yeah, what I'm doing here does add extra cost to the build, but again, very aesthetically pleasing to have matching fans throughout the entire build. Okay, so now that we got the fans installed nicely, we can put the cooler in. How often do you deal with pest control? I don't know what you mean by that. Like, do we have a lot of bugs here in Michigan? Yes. For a few months out of the year. And then it gets cold and then all the bugs just disappear. But yeah, I mean, yeah, of course we have bugs here. Everywhere there's bugs. Okay. Taking that. Oh yeah, before we do that, we want to make sure we have our fan cables in here. I want to use that. I need a split. Not quite the one I wanted, but I need a splitter. Remember just well, got one too many, but it'll do. Now you could take this bracket off. I always joke about that. I should do that, put this in. I'm too lazy to take this bracket out, put it on the cooler, to then put it back on. Doing it kind of a shortcut method. You don't have to endure the same pain that I'm enduring right now. Do this probably a lot easier. I do recommend, though, getting your screws ready before you put it in. And with the Montech King 95 Pro, or the King 95 in general, it gives you specific mounting screws for the AIO that are flat, so that the top panel doesn't have trouble. You don't have trouble putting the top panel back on. You use the screws that come with the cooler. Generally, you will have some issues with putting that top panel back on. So use the AIO screws that come with the case. In short. Make sure to cram those cables in that HDD tray so Ant-Man loses my... Yeah. I don't even think there's a... Well, I guess there is a hard drive cage in this one. I was gonna say, I don't even think there's a hard drive cage in here. Don't A. Cutting a computer. Yeah, Ant-Man doesn't like cables going inside the hard drive cage. So if I was ever building him a PC, I would definitely avoid doing that. Which, I mean, he has a good reason to suggest they shouldn't go there. They don't. But I do. I put them in. Like that. Okay. So with that being done, we could now proceed with putting this in. I'm going to peel this. I'm going to apply some thermal paste. Then we'll be good to go there. Mount this thing. This is the MX4 by Arctic. There we go. Installed. Looking pretty good. Oh, I stuffed that thing like a Thanksgiving turkey. Oh, that's a good one. Talking about Thanksgiving turkey, that's coming up. Unless you're Canadian here. Which, if you're Canadian, you already had your holiday, technically, right? That was earlier this year, wasn't it? Okay. So, one of the last two things that we have to do is install a graphics card. Okay, last three things we have to do. Install a graphics card. Okay, last four things we have to do is install a graphics card, run the PCIe, or I'm sorry, the 12 volt high power cable for it, then install the power supply, connect the extension cables and the cables to the power supply, and then do some cable management on the backside. Then we're good to go. So we're getting close here, guys. So, with that being said, let's get our white RTX 5080 out, which is a Gigabyte Aero OC edition. Aren't you Canadian or close enough? A? No. Michigan is not Canada. There's actually water between us. We're like one of the few states that have water between us and Canada. And there's a big bridge. So we can literally cut our access off to Canada. Unless you're talking, I guess, the UP. But that's different. UP's like separate. Hopefully Army Vet doesn't show up. I can't remember how this goes in. I don't know if we're going to be able to use it. Not sure that we're going to be able to use this mounting G4 bracket. Reminds me, do I have one? For those too. So, let's see if we can. Looks awesome. Thank you. Coming along. Nope. Nope. Oh, we'll have to play around with it, see if we can make that bracket work. But I don't think we're going to. I think I'm gonna have to get another bracket. Okay, so this thing mounts the card, and then we've got this stand magnet. I'm going to see if we can make this work. I already don't like it. It'll work. I think it'll work. We'll make it work. Mustard Mutant. Is my PC good? I have an RTX 5060 and a Ryzen 5 3600 and 32 gigs of RAM. It's a very nice 1080p gaming PC that features a Ryzen 5 3600 and a RTX 5060, which the 5060 is good for 1080p and maybe a little bit of 1440p dabbling, but it also has the newer DLSS, but you are probably bottlenecking a little bit on the CPU. 32 gigs of RAM is good. So overall, it's a very almost well-balanced build. I think the CPU is probably the only thing holding you back. It sounds pretty much Canada. Thanks, Onra. I appreciate your support. Okay, what should I upgrade to? Staying at AM4. So, your AM4 options are extremely limited because of availability. I would have told you to go find yourself a 5700X 3D or a 5800X 3D, but those are nearly impossible to find, and when you do find them, very expensive. And you're almost, when you go to buy one of those CPUs, it's almost time to just spend the money on the new platform at that point. So, in that case, a 5700X or a 5800X would be the alternative option. That'll get you all the cores, or if you don't have that much money to spend on it, a 5600X would make a pretty solid difference between the Ryzen 5 3600 and the Ryzen 5 5600X. Is a pretty good, decent difference there. So that would be my recommendation if you have to stay on AM4. But ideally, the 5700X 3D or the 5800X 3D, or if you find a 5600X 3D, that would be a cool CPU too. Those are really hard to find. All right, so we got the port bracket in. It does fit where we can put it, although the more hidden one by Lian Li would have been ideal. So now, let's get our graphics card power cable in, our power supply, do a little bit of cable management, and then we'll fire this thing up. do, do. And we are ready for our power supply. Chef, there is also a 5800X 3D on Jawa for $414. Yeah, but if you're spending $414 on that, you could buy almost a 9800X 3D at $450, brand new. So it's just really hard to justify that. I know you have to invest in the platform, so it's a motherboard, CPU, and RAM for the motherboard or for the jump. But 5700X 3D for $285 is not that bad. I would go with the 5700X 3D on Jawa. Not bad, but not the best. Really hard to justify that cost. But I know you're trying to help him find one. He really wants to stay on the AIM-5, or I'm sorry, AIM-4 platform. We can't. We can only advise. It's just one of those things where you got to make a decision at that point where you want to spend the money. But yeah, that would help. The 5700X 3D would definitely help with that CPU bottleneck. You might. That 3600 has aged. It's definitely not a bad CPU. It's just aging. Didn't know it came with all those plugs? Oh yeah, Onra. This is the King 95 Pro with the massive hub. Love this case. Absolutely love the case. If you haven't heard me throw glory towards it this entire time, knowing me. Does Micro Center still sell the 5600X3D? I haven't seen one in a long time. So it's been a while since I've seen one of those. Fortunately, I don't think it still gets carried anymore. I'm not keeping this really tight. I want this to have some give to it, so I'm not tightening that up very tight intentionally. It is. No. But I mean, you get the gist of it. Hard to deal with it when you have extensions, obviously. Would be cleaner if they were direct cables. For example, something from Cable Mod would have solved that. You got a lot of space in that case. That's nice, yeah. Hey, when you stroke your PC, oh boy, you get better frame rate, better frame rates. Tony over on YouTube says, I had it in my cart. I just can't get myself to do it. Oh man. The 49-inch OLED 144 hertz 1440p, $799. Dang. Drinking it wouldn't be a problem. Oh man. Well, Tony, those are all good problems to have. All right. So, let's put our door back on. Our Cable Hider 4000. And just like that, everything looks super clean. You don't necessarily need to run it with this on. This is honestly just a 2.5-inch cable hiding door. So if you wanted to install 2.5-inch SSDs, you can do that on the inside of the door, and have additional options here on the backside. That's why it's there. You can also install fans on the outside, the backside of the case here, on here, which if you didn't know that, you could do it. So if you needed to get rid of this panel, that can be removed. You could bring the fans all the way back here, which means you could put a radiator in here and put it in deep without interfering with the graphics card. Really cool design on the case that allows a lot of customizations. Really like it. I'm a big fan of the case. Okay. Everything looks super. Happy with the cable management, how it turned out. So, super happy. So, Yonik, are you here? You gotta be here to tell us to power this thing on. That is your one job, is to tell us to push this power button when we get it plugged in here. Ugh. By the way, if you never saw the back panel, it's just one massive mesh. I really like that. All right, let's get it plugged in, and then we'll have a side view here in just a moment. All right. Yes, sir. Fire it up. Yuduk is already telling us to fire it up. There's the suspense. Need to position this a little better. Hold on. Drop that camera down just a little bit. There we go. Looks like crisp focus. All right. Here we go, guys. The moment we've been waiting for. Let's see what it looks like. And let's see if Ben still knows how to build a PC, shall we? Oh boy. Oh boy. That's sick. Oh yeah. We have a post too. Yeah, we can play with. I'm playing with the hardware controller. Thankfully, I put all of them on the hardware, the hub, so we can play with it. The only thing that doesn't change is the RGB on the RAM. That's pretty cool. I just can't go with it. Can't go wrong with Intel. It just works. Says Roy, the Intel guy. Literally, his name is the Intel guy. Let's see if we can find a blue for Intel. Oh, no dark blue. Oh, there it is. There's your Intel blue. Oh yeah, and the top looks just like the rest of them, so all the fans match. Top and the bottom. I love my Intel. That's good. Yeah, I don't, like I said before, I don't say, you know, not against Intel, it's just AMD CPUs have been better lately, so can't knock it. But this CPU is supposed to be a beast, so we'll see. We'll see how it does under the benchmarks. But here we have it. We have an Intel Core Ultra 9, not an i9, an Ultra 9, 285K with a 64 gig kit of RAM, a 4 terabyte M.2 SSD, an RTX 5080 on a Z890 motherboard by Gigabyte, built into a Montech 95 Pro case, cooled by a Thermalright Wonder Vision cooler, and a thermal take 1050 watt power supply in the back, with some you know, extra white cables to throw in there with the aesthetics. Every day I wake up and pray my replacement 14900 KF doesn't fry itself. I'll just stay up on those microcode updates and obviously do some underclocking, and it should survive for the 14th gen and 13th generation processors. But yeah, it turned out very nice. It's very clean. There's the all white. Man, that is sharp. Super bright. Kind of reminds me of like a starship somewhere, all white. Oops. But there you have it. We have built Yunux build. Yunux build. It is 11:30 over here, so that is not going to be enough time for me to build number 2 tonight. That'll get pushed off till tomorrow. Kind of how I was feeling like it was going to happen anyway. Getting started again at almost 9 o'clock instead of the 8 o'clock start that I wanted. So we will be doing build number 2, which is 106 tomorrow. And we'll again try to do 2 builds tomorrow night. The Intel guy is an industry plant. Oh, I didn't know that. Don't worry. It'll make sure you're taken care of and last forever, according to the Intel guy. 100% worth it. Oh yeah, it's, I mean, we don't even have the screen going outside of the default Thermalright logo on there. Once we get the software installed, we'll be able to throw some stuff up on the screen. How many gifted subs to blow this PC's shit some off? I don't know. What do you mean? Whatever you want. Just watch me grow. Oh boy. Roy over on YouTube. The Intel guy. But yeah, it turned out really nice. I do like the all-white build, and I think I really like that curved screen in there. Can't wait to get the software going. Then we'll have some real fun with the RGB and the screen. My neck's a little sore. Let me try to see curved screen look. So this is why I picked this case along with that curved screen option, is because the glass is curved here. Along with the curved screen, it's going to look really cool. Yeah, I like it. I'm just mesmerized looking at it. pretty in white. Oh yeah, it's very nice. Oysterhead, welcome back to the Build Show. It's been a while. But build number 105 for the year. There it is. And those look good. So I'm definitely going to take some pictures of this one, and I'm probably going to replicate this one on the website because it is so dang good. Looks good. Maybe AMD version and Intel version. I like the Infinity fans, but I gotta say, I'm digging those fans. They're bright, but it's clean looking. Yeah, they've got some power to them. But they are, the only downside I would say to these is you kind of have to get the reverse blades. You can't just buy regular ones and flip them upside down because the back side doesn't have any RGB. The RGB is only on the front side of the fan. So if you are going with these fans, make sure you get the reversed blades for where you need intake, or the RGB is going to face the wrong way. So that is the only downside of the fan. You can't just flip it around and make it an intake or make it a exhaust without sacrificing the RGB, depending on what version of the blades you have. But that's probably the only downside to the fan. Outside of that, they're fantastic fans. No pun intended there. I'm Heidi. I guess that was a first-time chat. Welcome to the Build Show. But yeah, a lot of cool looks on this one. So there we have it, guys. I am done for the evening. I was gonna try to cram 2 builds in tonight, but we got started a little late again. You should put your company logo on it. It's for you to customize. You'll have a frame with a battle-tested certificate with my logo on it and all that, so that'll come with the PC. Here, I'll show you. You'll get one of these, but it'll be in a frame. It'll be signed, and the build number and the year will be on this. I usually sign PC as well as give you the build number on the PC itself. So, but it doesn't receive that until it passes all of its benchmarking tests that we do to it. So, Eve Anderson, welcome back to the Build Show, sir. Hello, been gaming with the 7900 XT, no problems with the display port, that is, right? Not the HDMI. When my friends and stuff ask, they know who to go with. Well, that's all word of mouth. So that's up to you to tell them. You can tell them you built it. But yeah, telling them go see Bet would be beneficial over here. That's my #1 form of marketing is word of mouth, and it is the best form of marketing. That's a paid add-on. It's a monthly subscription. No, I'm joking. I'll see what I can do. I'll see if I can get a white version of the logo. That sneeze came out of nowhere. Display port is better anyway, I think. Usually, I think you get some more. You get more bandwidth on display port, I think. Bless you, thank you. It would be cool to see something on the screen, but I know you gotta set everything up first. Yeah, I mean, I could take a video of it afterwards, before I pack it up. and show you guys the screen a little bit, and then I can post that in Discord, or I can post it on the YouTube channel and show it off. Tom the Lizard. 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 That guy? Lizard. 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 I can't wait for that movie. Definitely will be a good one. It reminds me of like seeing some of the early Pixar movies, like Toy Story, and what other funny one was there? Shrek was another one that was super funny. Like if you were kind of a young adult, there was some young adult humor mixed in there, obviously. Kind of reminds me of that kind of stuff. Could you also let us know what you think of the software that runs the screen? I always have problems with that, and I am interested in buying one of those. So I already know the Thermalright software takes a little bit of a learning curve, so it's not the easiest. Definitely not like that other brand that has the curved screen. I can't remember the name of them now. The other big one that's way more expensive. Their software is super easy to use. That other one. Can't think of it. I can link it to you if you want something with super easy software. This is, the software is easy once you, play around with it and figure it out. But it's not as easy, so to speak. Yeah, I like the display port sooner or later. I will, excuse me, I will be gaming only on monitor. Gotcha. All right, guys. Well, that is it for me tonight. I am done. I'm calling it a night. It's 11:43 p.m. I got to get up early tomorrow. Do the day all over again. Come back. Try to build 2 more PCs tomorrow night. I bought a wave shear on that sticks to the top of my cooler pump. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think I've seen pictures of yours, Tony. You've sent me some pictures. But that's it, guys. I'm done. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow night. And if you're new here and you haven't already joined the Discord channel, you're more than welcome to. ! Discord in the chat to receive the link to the Discord. And then you can hang out there and ask questions while I'm not live. Also hanging out with all these other fine ladies and gentlemen here of the community. So feel free to join up. Thank you, Some Giant Idiot, for dropping the links. With that being said, guys, have a good night. Happy Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow on Friday, which is in almost 15 minutes for me. Have a good night, guys.